Welcome to Life Lessons in Law with Lashonda. I'm your host, Lashonda Counsel Rogers. In each episode, we have authentic and entertaining conversations about the impact of the law on women. You can find this show on my website, www.thecounselfirm.com, and on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. Now, please join me in Life Lessons in Law with Lashonda. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Life Lessons in Law with Lashonda. And today we have Attorney Melaney LaGrone. Hi, Melanie. How are you?
Hi, I'm great, Lashonda. How are you?
Good. Your topics today, and I say topics, are so interesting. And today, in our day and age, and with so many things going on, it's just right on time. So, everyone, if you don't know, that Melanie is the owner of LaGrone Law, and she is a crimmigration attorney. Let me make sure I get it right. And that is a practice that encompasses criminal law and immigration. But I know y'all don't want to hear me talk about it. So, Melanie, tell me about how criminal law and immigration are now married into this new relationship, crimmigration law.
Okay. All right. So really, and yeah, let me tell you, we really didn't make that phrase up. So there is an attorney in another state who actually coined that phrase. So crimmigration is the cross between criminal law and immigration. And what it focuses on is the immigration, like the impact on someone's immigration status based on them having some sort of criminal arrest or criminal conviction. Because unfortunately, immigrants, they really get the bad end of the stick when it comes to criminal cases, because you can't handle an immigrant's criminal case the same way that you would handle a United States citizen's case, because everything will affect their immigration status in one way or the other.
Okay. So first of all, you have an interesting background when we come to the criminal sector. It is my understanding that you were a former police officer, right?
Yes.
So, okay, walk me through that and then how you are now practicing crimmigration.
All right. So, let's go back, but we won't go back too far because we don't want nobody to know how old we are.
Oh no, but look at you. You're aging like fine wine, ma'am. So
Thanks, and so are you. Okay, so after college, because I went to the University of Detroit in like the heart of the city, I really wanted, for some reason, I had in my mind that I wanted to go to the federal government. Like I wanted to be a U.S. Marshal. Don't know where that came from. It's not something that as I was little, I grew up and I said, I want to be a marshal catching criminals or anything like that. It's just, I started taking criminal justice classes, and for some reason, I loved that part of it. But the marshals weren't hiring when I graduated. And they had like this huge, the federal government had a big hiring freeze on like around 94, something like that, 1994. And so, of course, I needed a job.
right.
So I had met a lot of police officers throughout my 4 years at U of D. We became friends. Everybody was so cool. And, so basically they were like, look, we're hiring, come on.
Okay.
Well, that's what I did. I don't know. I filled out the paperwork, went to the academy, and I ended up being a cop.
Oh my gosh.
On the streets of Detroit, Michigan.
Okay, because I was about to say, you said U of D, and I was like, okay, let us know, because I know you from Detroit. So how was that experience, and how long did you do that?
So I was a police officer for almost 10 years. I started out at, then it was called Gang Squad. It was a special unit that they had. We were plainclothes officers, so with the semi-marked vehicles. just badges around our necks, of course, our vests on and things like that. And our job was basically, I always tell people, our job was like, we went out looking for crime. We didn't have to answer police runs or anything like that. We were just patrolling the streets of the city and just going where we needed to go to make arrests. So I was there for about, I want to say 5-6 years. And then after that, I went to narcotics
Okay.
and spent the rest of my time at narcotics. So I worked on a couple of the raid crews. I worked inside for a little bit. So I pretty much done a little bit of everything on the difficult side of policing. So, and it was
Gotcha.
a great experience.
Oh, I bet. Now
It was great.
I know all of your clients are innocent, but how did that background help you now that you're handling criminal matters as an attorney? Because again, all your clients are innocent. I
Yes,
get
of
it.
course,
I get that.
Lashonda. Now all my clients are innocent.
Of course.
Absolutely,
I get
absolutely.
that. I get
Okay.
that.
So, well, one thing that helps my clients tremendously is I have a police officer's brain. Okay. So I
Mhm.
know how they write the reports to get what they want. I know how they get into vehicles. I know how they do their searches. I know what they're going to testify to and what they're going to say on a stand. So I can use all of that to be able to turn it around on them
Mhm.
and defend my clients. And it works. I love it. Because one thing that we learned, one thing that the police department always taught us was the power of the pen.
Okay.
Okay? The power of the pen. So whatever you're writing on your police report, you know what I'm saying? The power of the pen. That right there is what's gonna, make your case stick, and that's what's gonna, get a conviction and stuff like that. But the power of the pen can also get them in trouble because a lot of times you say the same thing over and over again in every single case,
Right.
So yeah.
Ah. Yeah, no, I can totally understand that power of the pen because with our personal injury cases, the first thing we look at is the police report. And sometimes that police report is not accurate, or
Mhm.
our clients were injured and they were whisked off by an ambulance before they can even talk to the police officer. So
Yeah.
the police officer only gets one side, and we are dealing with this power of the pen
Yeah.
that is just that it can be a nightmare or it can be a blessing or a curse. So I
Mhm.
totally that transcends, of course, your practice and personal injury as well, because that can be a game changer. That can be a
Game
game
changer.
changer.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the immigration side of it a little bit. So what's hot in immigration right now?
Girl, what's not hot?
What's not hot? Yeah,
Immigration
every
is
day.
always it's an always ever changing pile of mess.
Mess. Yeah, I was about to say, oh, don't say that word. Don't say the S word. Mess. Yes.
Mess
Mess.
from one administration to another, basically.
Right.
So right now, what is huge right now is Biden's humanitarian parole. All
Okay.
right. And what he is allowing is 30,000 people a month to come in from Cuba, Nicaragua, and Haiti. So if you know someone who lives in one of those countries, if you are from one of those countries and you want to sponsor someone, then you are able to sponsor them. Of course, there's a vetting process and things like that, but they're able to come here and live and work for about 2 years. So
Oh,
I think it's a huge step. It's a great program. Of course, there's things that hurdles that we have to jump through, but a
mhm.
lot of people have been taking advantage of it. So I think right now that's kind of like the hottest thing that's going
Okay.
on a nice end of immigration.
Okay. On the nice immigration.
Yeah.
So under this program, what in that 2 year period that they're here, is it the assumption that they will then file for citizenship, or after the 2 years, do they have to go back, or
So
what's
they
the
have
two
to go.
years?
They have to go back, but you never know what happens in 2 years. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? You could fall in love. You could get married to a United States citizen. You could file for your green card. So in those 2 year period of time, you never know what's going to happen. The laws might change. Maybe
Yeah.
the laws will extend it.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now, it just gives them an opportunity to get out of any sort of situation that they might be in one of those countries, and come and have a better life for a couple of years, and then see what happens from there.
So you mentioned situations. So do you
Mhm.
have to show that you are in a certain situation in order to be approved for that program?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope. There's just some requirements. Of course, they're doing a little bit of vetting, as far as like police and things like that, vetting process. But no, just I think you have to like make a statement or write down a statement or something like that why you would want to come or take advantage of this opportunity.
And as far as the person here who's, I guess, sponsoring
Mhm.
the person who's trying to get here, do
Mhm.
they have to be related or do they have to show what kind of connection to the person do they have to show?
Nope, just that they know them. You don't have to be related. It could be a friend. It could be, a family member. It could be, a friend of a friend. But you just have to show how you know that person.
Now, is there a vetting of the person who's sponsoring as well?
Well, there's a few things that they have a few requirements that they have to meet.
Mhm.
But the biggest one is the financial requirement, because there is a financial supporting document that they have to fill out to basically tell, USCIS, the government, that they are going to be and able to be responsible for this person when they come over.
So then how much money do you have to be able to say that you're gonna be responsible for a person once they get over here? Is there like a little threshold? Because I
So you
mean, does the
don't have
person need to come over here and live large, or do they just need to live?
No, just come over and live. Now
Okay.
live large. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be wealthy. There is a threshold, of like a poverty guideline type of situation, that you have to be over. But it equates to almost the same as the marriage-based petitions. So
Okay.
in marriage-based petitions, when you marry a United States citizen, that United States citizen is still filing an affidavit of support on your behalf, saying that they're going to be responsible for you. And they only have to make, I think it's 125% over the poverty guidelines. And so there's a list, like you can actually Google it, what are the poverty guidelines? And it'll come up and show you, okay, if you have a household of two, you have to make, $26,000 or something like that.
Mhm.
So you just go down those guidelines and say, oh, okay, it's going to be a household of 4 or 6. So this is how much I need to make.
So this is gonna be a funny question, but maybe not funny. What are some things that you see immigration wise that
Mhm.
come into your office that you're like, now why did you do that? Why? I mean, we could have had a clean application. We could have, it could have been, I mean, not to say anything could be smooth sailing, but what are some things that people do that are just like, are you serious? You, why did
Um,
you do that?
well, okay. Marry multiple people, meaning like, okay, I'm going to marry this person and try to get a green card. Oh, that didn't work out. So I'm going to marry this person and try to get a green card. That didn't work. I think I had one gentleman, he came into my office and he was on 3. Now, look, I'm not saying nothing about anybody marrying multiple times, because look, I'm waiting on number 3.
Okay.
Okay. But, when it becomes a pattern of, you're trying to get your green card, it becomes a problem. And so,
Oh my
at that point, I just have to say, look, I can't help you. There's nothing that I can do to help you. I'm sorry. So I think that's the biggest one.
God. Okay.
I don't really have anything else. I love, on a good note, I love my fiance visa people.
Okay.
So like the guys that are here and they went to another country and they found the love of their life, or vice versa, a female here and went to another country and found the love of her life. They come in my office and I always ask, tell me your story. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
that I can find out, how to build this picture of their life together with USCIS. And I had this gentleman, this nice big burly guy come in, and girl, he cried. He was so in love with this
Oh,
woman. He just cried. I was like, you lose his. No, he said to me, he's like, I'm losing my man card. I said, yes, you are. I said,
ah,
we need you to get that back real quick.
yes. Ah, yeah.
It's just it's a romantic story. It's just like I didn't know that I was such a sucker for romance because I always feel like I'm not romantic. But when they come in and tell me the stories, and it's just like, oh, I want to help you. Yes, let's bring her here. Bring him here.
Well, yeah, because I mean, the stories that you see on television, they're of people like, okay, let's pretend we like each other
Uh-huh.
until some inspector comes to the door. And once that inspector's gone, you go your way, I go mine. That is what we see on TV. And of course, that's entertainment. But
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of legitimate marriages. And I guess what's that show that's on now? Was it 90 Day?
90 Day Fiance, girl. That is like my guilty pleasure. I
But
love
I
it.
mean, okay, but you're looking at that 90 Day Fiance from a
Mhm.
different perspective, though.
Yeah.
So can you like look at them and just say, I know this is just a scam?
Yeah, yeah. Or so a lot of times though, it's really not a scam. It's
Okay.
more or less unrealistic thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, unrealistic thinking. You have a 65-year-old white woman who falls in love with a you know 30-year-old Jamaican rapper.
Yeah. Stella trying to get the groove back. I get you. I get you. And it's like, Stella, no, no, no. No, no,
Yeah,
no.
like, don't bring
Yeah.
that man here, he's gonna, be trouble.
Right. Right. But they're so in love. And
Hmm.
love is so blinding. It's just I don't know. And it makes me think about sometimes, people who send money to people overseas that they never met. It's just that love
Hmm.
and that attraction. It's like, oh,
Oh my gosh, girl,
well,
it reminds me of that other show, Life After Lockup, where
oh,
people fall in love with the people in prison and they send them money and then they come out and yeah.
and they're gone.
And they're,
Oh, geez. Oh, geez.
love, girl, love, love.
Love will conquer all except for when they get out and then it doesn't. But, no, but there are some success stories
Yes.
for that. So, give us some things that you would like our audience to know about you and your firm and the importance of calling you immediately when
Okay.
they have a need, a criminal or immigration need.
All right. So let's start with the criminal.
Okay.
Um, Definitely someone that you need on your team is a former police officer, former prosecutor too,
Yeah.
because I know all sides of the law. Like I know the ins and outs of the system. I can do it in my sleep pretty much. And I tell people you don't want to right. You don't want to wait
Mm,
until you have a court hearing coming up and then decide to call an attorney.
mhm.
Call them in the beginning so that they don't play catch up in the
Yeah.
end. Just do it. Okay.
Mhm.
On the immigration side, we do, or I do, I say we because I have a team, but we do like family based petitions. So, like I said, the fiance visas, if you're married to a United States citizen, the adjustment of status cases here in the US. But we can work in any state. So, all 50 states, and then in the US Virgin Islands also. So, I always say immigration makes for a better nation. I really do believe that we are a huge melting pot. And if we were not a melting pot here in the US, it would be boring and, yeah, very one sided. So, come, America's not, we have our issues here and there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, just like every other country. But at the end of the day, it's a great place to be, great place to work, great place to raise a family and things like that. So,
Awesome. And you mentioned the Virgin Islands. Tell everybody about that.
I came down to the Virgin Islands. I want to say, I think it was like in 2018, 2019, and just fell in love. I love the sun. I love the water. I don't necessarily like to be in it. I just like to hear it and look at it and things like that. And I found that there was a huge need for immigration services down here. They They work a lot off of more of like immigration consultants, which people have heard the term like notarios for like the Hispanic population. It's kind of the same thing where you're just kind of a form filler. You're filling out the forms, you're helping people, but that's the limit, like not a lot of attorneys. And I just came down here and fell in love with the locals and the environment and decided to open up an immigration firm.
Wow. So you're actually in the Virgin Islands right now.
I am. I am.
So lucky. So lucky. And so you have an office in the Virgin Islands, and then you have one here in the States in Atlanta.
Yeah, in Lawrenceville. I'm in
Lawrenceville.
Yes, Lawrenceville, downtown Lawrenceville.
Very good. Very good. And so obviously you're doing a lot of remote consulting and keeping up with everything. That is amazing. I envy you. I envy you. You know, I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get to Virgin Islands. Let me go take my bar and exam and get licensed there and join you. I'll be your paralegal. I'll be like, here, let me carry you.
Well, they need personal injury attorneys too.
They need me, not just personal injury attorneys. They need moi. They need me. Yes. They need me. So we have to wrap up now, unfortunately. But tell our viewers how they can find you.
Okay, absolutely. So our telephone number is 678-250-5449. Our website is www.lagronelaw.com. And I am on all social media, y'all.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I
had to get with the young folks. So I'm on TikTok and I'm on Instagram and Facebook.
And I love it. I love it. Your videos are so entertaining, but they're informative too. Yeah, very, very informative.
I think that's the thing with immigration is it's a lot of misinformation. And so I definitely want to educate and let people know the do's and don'ts because, you know, that word of mouth thing and everybody hearing, you know, this, that, and the other is not always accurate.
So before we leave, you mentioned misinformation. Give us maybe one misconception that people have about immigration.
If you come to the United States illegally, which means without a visa, and you stay for, 10, 15, 20 years, that you can get a green card.
Not true.
Not true. Not true at all. And if you marry a United States citizen in those situations, you still have to, we call it consular process, and go back to your home country before you can actually get your green card.
Shut your mouth. Wait a minute. So if you all right. And so I guess that is the penalty for not doing it right to begin with.
Correct. So it's called, because they get unlawful presence. They have over 180 days of unlawful presence, which has to be waived and approved.
Wow. Wow. That is so okay. So we're gonna have to have you back to give us some more tidbits because it's so interesting how immigration works, and especially now, it's such just a raging topic that people are on both sides of the fence. Like, okay, we should be more open, let everybody in. And then some are, obviously shut the borders, nobody else in. We're full. How they say about Atlanta, don't come here, we're full. So it's an interesting debate on both sides of the fence. But I'm with you. I feel like, come one, come all. But I understand there needs to be some regulations and how we do that to be safe and comfortable for everyone. So
exactly, do it right, do it properly,
do it the right
way, and it'll turn out right. Another misconception is that immigrants are taking away the jobs of United States citizens, and that is definitely not correct.
So tell me a little more. So what are, I think I kind of know the jobs that people are like. Which jobs are most people concerned about immigrants taking?
Everything, whether it be construction, landscaping, because, you do see a lot, working construction and things like that. But even things where, doctors and stuff like that, at the end of the day, they come over here because the companies cannot get anyone from the US to fill these positions. So,
So don't hate on the immigrants.
We're a little spoiled, you know what I'm saying? We don't really like to work hard, so.
we're a lot of spoiled. How about that? Little, you were saying it lightly. We're a lot of spoiled over here.
Exactly.
But anyway, I know we were wrapping up and now we've opened
I know,
another
right?
can of worms, which means that you have to come back and chat with us.
Absolutely. Thank
But
you for having
thank,
me.
oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. I'm always like in awe, like how you do this Virgin Islands, Georgia, Virgin Islands, and I just imagine you sipping a drink out of a coconut with your phone and Zoom on in one hand, and you're just like, this is the life.
This is the life.
This
But
is
I
the
usually do have a nervous breakdown every day. But yes, this is the
oh,
life.
gotcha. So you see, you spilled your own secret on that. I was thinking of the fabulousness that I see all the time on the internet. So, but anyway, so everyone, if you have criminal or immigration needs, you have to call LaGrone Law. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. And we will see you next time on Life Lessons in Law with Lashonda. Take care. You've been tuning into Life Lessons in Law with Lashonda. In each episode, we have authentic and entertaining conversations about the impact of the law on women. I hope you'll join me each time. You can find this show on my website at www.thecounselfirm.com and on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. We appreciate your positive comments and reviews. And don't forget to share this show with others. I've been your host, Lashonda Counsel Rogers.